Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we are at the Niello Company in Sacramento, California. And Ted, this incredible panel with us today, we have assistant managers of Niello and also partners here with the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
I think it's best, Sarah, if we have everybody just briefly introduce themselves and tell us who you are and what you do, starting right here with Dave Anderson.
Hi, I'm Dave Anderson, CEO and founder of Evenflow AI.
My name is Erik, Assistant Service Manager of Porsche Rock.
Bobby Caudle, Assistant Service Manager, Niello BMW and Carr.
Erik Carr, Assistant Service Manager of Niello Audi.
Jose Dominguez, Assistant Service Manager at Porsche Sacramento.
I'm Gaurav Sharma, and I'm co-founder and Chief Product and Strategy Officer for myKaarma.
Well, to kick things off today, I want to talk a little bit about some of the friction that can potentially happen in a service department and how dealerships can better alleviate some of those friction points to have a smoother strategy. Rob, I want to start with you and go down the line. If you could eliminate one source of friction between the service department and the customer, what would it be and how would it change the dealership operation?
So I'll come at it more from, not an operation standpoint, but from a tool standpoint and what we do. I mean, what we've seen really is it really helps to reduce friction by eliminating, let's say, a lot of layers between what technicians do and what customers see. For example, our tool allows you to, take a video and a technician takes a video. And for that video to be sent as is immediately to the customers, and an MPI can follow and supplement, what's already been sent to them.
Really just transparency, making sure that everything that you are telling your customer what needs to go on and what's going on with the vehicle, making sure that that coincides with everything across the board. So from the technician to getting the vehicle cleaned and making sure it's essentially transparent throughout the entire process.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. For us, it was communication. Just having the tech videos and the transparency, the customers can see the repairs that are needed, and it makes sales just so much easier.
It's developing that relationship with the customer and just being upfront and making sure that things are running smooth. Everybody's comfortable, making the customers feel as welcome as possibly can, to where they feel wanting to look at that report and have that relationship with the advisor to be able to communicate what they're looking at.
Exactly. We are just following the driveway processes, making sure that it's consistent, keeping promises with the customers.
I think it's about consumer choice, even at the time of scheduling appointments. So allow them to weigh off options, right? And don't bias something to say, like, I think they all want to come in the morning on Friday, 8 a.m. We'll give them a Thursday afternoon appointment. If that works better for their schedule, then you empower them with the choice.
Dave, Evenflow recently introduced a product that you helped develop for other industries outside of automotive, outside these four walls, in airlines and hotels. And talk to us about that in terms of schedule.
Yeah, so and then actually most recently with healthcare too. So it's a mix between like what works best for the consumer and operational like efficiency there. And part of what I was saying with choice, it's giving the right choice architecture to the customers that works with the shop loading that the customers have. And ultimately that translates into higher technician productivity, flag hours, and then a better customer experience.
Let me ask everybody else on the panel, starting here. What role does proactive customer communication play in improving both customer satisfaction and operational efficiencies in your mind?
What role? It's everything. So us communicating with customers is, their car's there. They need to know what's going on. The idea is to make sure that they're, involved every step of the way. Well,
I would say the biggest thing with communicating with the clients is getting to them first. When the customer has to check and ask what's going on, we're kind of behind the eight ball. So just making sure all your advisors and the whole department up front is ahead of the game and wowing the customer with reaching out to them first.
Yeah, totally. The service department are customer collectors. So as long as you're communicating, you find out their best source of communication. And as long as you're on top of the ball and reaching out to them, and letting them know the process, everything just goes so much more smooth.
Yeah, and essentially building up that trust with your clientele. Essentially, you're going to have that customer come back to you years and years and years down the road. So making sure you establish that trust and keep it going every single time you are with that transaction with that customer is really what makes the game.
And Gaurav, you've really changed the game in terms of communication at myKaarma. I know when I go into my BMW center now to get my vehicle serviced, I get a video from the dealership. And I took a look at the video recently to see how that was powered. And I see powered by myKaarma, okay?
Yeah.
And I see the technician and they're got the vehicle up on the lift, okay? And I see that that's my license plate, that's my car. I've never seen the vehicle underneath the way they're showing it to me. Talk to us about the importance of these communication tools.
Yeah, so our whole company, Ted, as you know, was based on the initial hypothesis was about communication and proactive communication. Uj was my partner. He had a very bad experience at one dealership, and we were in the OEM space, and he came to me with this idea saying, we need to do something about this. In this day and age, it doesn't make sense for me to have to call a dealership and wait 4 minutes to get a hold of somebody to even talk to. And this somebody is not even in the service department. And so, we wanted to change that, and we used text messaging as a basis for it, and to send out proactive text messages to customers to inform them about the status of their vehicle, to let them know what their invoice is, to send them a video when their vehicle is done. So all the different processes are built on that foundational layer.
And communication is so important in this conversation. But really, it's the leadership ahead of that communication that is really driving these pieces. For our Niello leaders that are here with us today on this panel, I want to ask about this and how it relates into the organization at a large level. One of the themes we're hearing across the industry is the need to intentionally develop future service managers, parts managers, and fixed ops leaders. Why is investing in leadership development so important right now? And what are the risks for dealerships that aren't building a strong team?
Yeah, it's good to build from within because essentially your entire employee base knows who these people are. You've been working with them; they do most of the work trying to make sure all these processes are followed. So rather than having somebody come in from a third party or outside spot, you already have built that relationship with the employees and the other management that's already there.
I agree with that fully. Just having the trust and just the wherewithal of how this company works. It's a lot easier for us to just kind of step into a role and have our colleagues follow us.
I would say stability. Stability builds trust, and then trust makes the customer feel comfortable. And when a customer feels comfortable and they can sense that the employees are comfortable with their managers and just the work environment, things go really smooth.
Yeah, and also, we know the Niello way, so we're not hiring somebody outside that wants to do it a different way than the way we do it.
And Dave, you wanted to just add something.
Oh yeah, just back on the communication, so having worked in several different industries, like what's a truism is customers hate surprises and they hate the uncertainty. It drives them crazy. So from an airline perspective, right, like if it used to be like my flight's delayed. Well, now we say it's delayed 23 minutes. Or if I land and I miss my connection, you proactively schedule them. So I think a lot of this is key of like setting the right stage at the appointment. If you have a recall, this could take 4 hours, right? No surprises. And that proactivity is really critical.
I like that. You're right about that. Sure. myKaarma do the Westman.
Well, in terms of, the shortage of technicians and, I think our focus has always been about efficiency and, ultimately how it translates to transparency with the customers. I think the way we're going to be continued to focus on this is by allowing and building tools that allow technicians and advisors to do more with less. So as much of automation that can be built in, so they don't have to worry about really, going into a tool and doing things. For things to happen when they should happen in a natural workflow is what we're going to be focused on.
I don't know if you know the story, but about 7 years ago, I got a phone call from a gentleman. The call came in from Long Beach, and it was a gentleman named Uj Nath.
Yes.
And he said, I see you've just done a fixed ops roundtable, and you're going to do one here in Los Angeles. We're doing our second one, and I want to thank you at myKaarma for being with us the past 7 years.
Yeah, I appreciate
to
it.
help build all this interest in fixed operations at the great technology.
Yep.
And Dave, the great technology you've got as well at Evenflow, and having us look outside the box at how we're going to be scheduling in the future. So, yeah, congratulations to you on all the changes, things that are happening. Appreciate it. Thanks. Sarah, exciting times.
Very exciting, Ted, and the future leaders of fixed operations and the ones that are really making the difference in the industry today are with us on this panel. An incredible topic and more to come in the future.
A lot ahead, everybody. Sarah Vantine are here. in Sacramento, California. We're at the Niello company, and we're coming right back.
Yeah.